Greetings everyone, and welcome to my review of Boom Studios' Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues 1 through 4. Yes, you heard me, I'm covering multiple issues today. I said I would in my issue 0 review. Before we begin, I should point out that yes, I am familiar with Hasbro acquiring the rights to Power Rangers. I don't know how it will affect things in the long run, whether or not the comics will continue under Boom Studios, or will the licensing be moved to IDW, since they are the ones responsible for printing Hasbro related material. So for now, I'm going to continue on as if nothing happened. Anyway, let's recap. We were introduced, or reintroduced, to the original Mighty Morphin team. Zach Taylor, Kimberly Hart, Billy Cranston, Trini Kwan, Jason Lee Scott, can't believe I messed that up last time, and finally, Tommy Oliver. Tommy's been having trouble adjusting to his new life as a Ranger, not helped with an illusionary Rita popping up in his head. This carried over to the battle with a monster. Although it was defeated, Tommy lost control of his Dragon Zord, almost causing civilian casualties. Jason berating Tommy for his actions didn't help. And finally, Scorpina delivered a crystal from the site of the aforementioned battle to Rita, who has something planned for it. Issue 1 begins with our comic relief duo Balkan Skull making a vlog for whatever video hosting site exists in the Power Rangers universe. Do they even have YouTube? Anyway, its purpose is to give a primer to the audience about the Power Rangers, convenient for new readers who didn't watch the show originally, and to let fans of the show know that yes, even though this takes place in the 21st century, a number, if not most events of the show happened, as indicated by a collage of familiar monsters. The video essay continues with Bulk's theories about the Power Rangers, the appearance of the Green Ranger as an antagonist, and later working with them to destroy the Bolzer last issue. Bulk interviews people on their thoughts about the Power Rangers, including Billy and Trini. Obviously, the two have to remain hush-hush about being Power Rangers. This transitions nicely into Bulk trying to interview Tommy. Kim shows up to tell Bulk and Skull not to put pressure on Tommy, and eventually the two leave. Tommy and Kimberly are discussing some plans involving training, and afterwards, the classic going out to coffee. At lunch, we learn the rest of the original Rangers after-school plans. Billy and Trini are going to the Dragon Zord to run diagnostics, while Jason and Zach have detention. Yeah, Zach was caught sleeping in class, and Jason tried to defend him. Tommy arrives. He and the other Rangers have different lunch periods. Because he got out of homeroom early to meet with his advisor, he figured he'd hang out with his new friends. Unfortunately, that's when the lunch bell rings and the five leave. Obvious symbolism is obvious. Which brings us back to the Power Rangers vlog. Jason and Zach are giving their answers on whether or not the Green Ranger can be trusted. Pay close attention to Jason's answer, that everyone deserves a second chance, and he's fine with the Rangers trusting him. Heading over to Rita's palace, she notes that while she got some Green Ranger energy from the Bolzer fight, she needs a lot more to fully power the crystal. Back to Jason and Zach. While the two are serving their detention time, they discuss Zordon just letting Tommy join the team and not asking the Rangers how they feel about it. While Jason is a little bothered by it, he's going along with it because Zordon believes in Tommy. Speaking of Tommy, we see him in his Green Ranger persona defending civilians against putties while Kimberly's attacking the monster in her Zord. Zordon instructs Tommy to lead the civilians to safety, and Tommy chooses the path not occupied by the monster. It seemed like the right choice until the putties ambushed them. Head Rita's words really hit home that he failed these people. Don't worry, it wasn't real. The monster attack with the putties, that is. It was a pocket dimension used for training, and Zordon specifically designed this no-win scenario to gauge how one deals with it. It seems Zordon's a fan of Star Trek. Not only does he have a holodeck, he just put Tommy through the Kobayashi Maru. Tommy wants to run through the scenario again, at the cost of that coffee date with Kimberly. At his home, Tommy reflects on what it means to be a Power Ranger. Scorpina appearing in his room means enemies can ruin your me time at any point. Issue 2's main story begins with Billy and Trini running diagnostics on the Dragon Zord, which I should point out is underwater. Their conversation about the Zord and Tommy leads to the real point of the scene. As I said in the issue 0 intro, Billy's not much of a fighter as the others. Tommy's arrival didn't help in that regards. I also said Billy's the brains and inventor of the group, a valuable member member in his own right. Trini reminds him of this fact, and it restores Billy's confidence enough to continue their work. In Tommy's room, Scorpina reveals why she's here. The Green Dragon Power Coin. Tommy may snark at the situation, but when you threaten his mother, he'll teleport you to an isolated area for a one-on-one duel. Tommy morphs and the fight begins. He soon realizes he's kinda out of his league. Not only is Scorpina an experienced warrior, she's a cheater. Kimberly swings by the Angel Grove Karate School to have a chat with Jason. They're interrupted by Zordon, who informs them of Tommy's fight with Scorpina and the putties. As you can see, Tommy's not one to give up. As the real Rita explains to Squat and Babu, every blow against her forces only makes the crystal stronger. But if Scorpina actually gets the power coin as she's about to here thanks to the putties melting into Tommy, Rita still wins. That's when the cavalry shows up. Zack also arrives. I'm assuming Billy and Trini are still in the Dragon Zord. Tommy tries to find the fleeing Scorpina, only to find nothing but Head Rita mocking his failure. It's really affecting Tommy's mindset as he's becoming more hostile to the others, Jason specifically. At the command center, everyone ponders how far Rita will go to recover the green power coin, and Tommy swears he won't let that happen. Billy explains that while the Dragon Sword seems to be fully functional, it's not responding to Tommy. According to Zordon, there is a connection between Ranger and Zord. They have to be comfortable with one another. Between hearing this explanation and the constant nagging from Head Rita, Tommy cannot take the pressure anymore and collapses, ending issue 2. Issue 3 begins by answering a question some people may have asked. What happened to Goldar? Well, it seems after agreeing with evil, Rita imprisoned him in her dark dimension as punishment, and he willfully accepts it. Tommy wakes up at home. His mom says Jason and the others dropped him off. That's nice. Everything seems normal until Tommy's mom mentions they're Power Rangers. Things get even creepier as she pulls off her face to reveal she's Rita. There's some nightmare fuel for you. Rita as a motherly figure. Thankfully, it was all a nightmare. Tommy's still at the command center. The Rangers think something's happened to him during the fight with Scorpina and decide to run a power scan. Back on the moon, Scorpina's ready to accept punishment for her failure. Rita's not concerned. The last fight energized the crystal with lots of Green Ranger energy. They need one final attack to fully energize it. A key part of the attack is the Dragon Dagger, and while they don't have the genuine article, a knockoff made from a putty imprint will serve this purpose. Trini starts scanning Tommy, and this gives them a chance to get to know each other a bit. Tommy's moved around frequently before settling in on Angel Grove. Trini says while she loves being a Power Ranger, she would give it up to help people in other ways, citing her father as inspiration. He was in the military before becoming a doctor. But enough about this silly thing called character development. Let's get back to the action. They hear a noise outside, and they're shocked to find the Dragon Zord heading towards the command center, ready to attack. Oh boy. They morph and Trini summons her Zord while Tommy tries to regain control. He can't teleport in, so he goes for the Dragon Flute. Little good that does him as the Dragon Zord approaches with every intention to chop him good. Fortunately for us and Tommy, it was another nightmare. At a diner, the other Rangers discuss the Tommy situation. Zack makes his stance clear. He can't be trusted. Kimberly naturally defends him by pointing out the brainwashing. Jason's giving him the benefit of the doubt, and Billy's repairing Tommy's communicator. Scorpina broke it before the fight in the forest. Just in time too. Trini summons them back to the command center. She shows everyone the results of the power scan. Don't worry, she didn't mix up the results. She's showing Jason's scan as an example of how the Rangers are connected to the morphing grid, basically the energy field allowing one to become a Ranger. She then shows Tommy's and yeesh. They speculate that it's probably due to the Green Dragon coin having a different connection to the grid. I mean, who knows what Rita did with it before giving it to Tommy? The speculation about Rita screwing around with Tommy leads to him finally confessing his experiences with Head Rita and his recent Dragon Zord dream. This doesn't go over well with the team, especially Jason, who's doubting whether or not Tommy should even be a Ranger. Things are about to get worse as the alarm sounds. The viewing globe shows the Dragon Zord coming online without Tommy's influence. sequence. Looks like Tommy's nightmare is about to become real. Thanks to a combination of Finster's makeshift dagger and the crystal, Scorpina successfully takes control of the Zord. She takes her new toy out for a joyride because having it attack the people will fully energize the crystal and, according to Rita, open a portal, as issue 4's beginning reveals. The Rangers trying to regain control from the command center to no avail. The strange energy, probably from the crystal, also prevents Tommy from teleporting in. The only choice now is to head out into the field. Tommy's staying behind. His hallucinations might make things worse. The original members morph and summon their Zords. The Rangers seem to have a handle on the situation as Billy's Zord tows the Dragon Zord towards the sea and away from the people. Rita, not wanting this plan ruined on the cusp of success, has Finster whip up a group of shark monsters to distract the Rangers. 3 to be exact. They take on Zack, Trini, and Billy, leaving only Jason and Kimberly to handle Scorpina. Inside the command center's lounge area, I guess, Tommy figure out what head Rita is. She's a manifestation of Tommy's self-doubt created with the aid of the green dragon powers, which would explain why she has a green tint. She only exists because Tommy was too afraid to let go of what happened during Green with Evil. Tommy declares this stops now, and head Rita fades away. Tommy goes to Zordon with a plan. He thinks he can regain control of the Dragon Zord using the real Dragon Dagger. Zordon won't stop him, but he does warn Tommy that this goes against Jason's orders. But with the lives of the Rangers, and more importantly, the people on the line, Tommy hopes Jason will understand. He morphs and tries to regain control of the Dragon Zord by standing on top of it and playing the Dragon Flute, which does jack squat. Scorpina throws him off, Kimberly catches him, and he directs her towards his Zord. His off-the-cuff plan is to smash through one of the Zord's eyes and physically takes on Scorpina. And that's bold, dude. This allows the other Rangers to form the Megazord to fight the shark monsters. The Rangers eventually win the day, and Tommy not only smashes the fake dagger, but captures Scorpina. With all this success, I'm sure Jason and the team will be a-okay with Tommy's actions here and learn to trust him more. If this was the 90s show, I could see it happening, but not here. Jason outright calls Tommy on this reckless behavior. It gets so bad the two are ready to trade blows. That's when the crystal, which the Rangers brought back, opens that portal Rita mentioned inside the command center, causing massive damage. The Rangers themselves are fine, but Zordon, Alpha, and Scorpina are missing. The Rangers instead are in the presence of this giant monstrosity. While it shrinks to approximately their size, it nevertheless remains intimidating as it's ready to destroy the Rangers. Well, this is getting darker than expected. Let's brighten the mood a bit. The second story I've talked about last time featured Balkan Skull coming up with a plan to become Power Rangers to impress the ladies, especially Kimberly and Trini. So how will they accomplish this? Thanks to watching a news report at Ernie's, they learn about another monster attack with the Power Rangers that also has the presence of putties. They head off to the scene of the attack and actually capture a putty that was in disguise. Putties have been known to disguise themselves on the show, so I'll let this slide. They keep the putty tied up at Skull's place until they can cobble up together some Power Ranger-like armor for the big show. We see them drive around town, putty still tied up, until they spot Kimberly and Trini playing basketball with some friends. Because this is a Balkan Skull plan, as anyone familiar with the show will note, this is ending in disaster for the two. First, the putty breaks free, on its own mind you, to attack the girls. My guess, Finster made the putties so that they can engage the Rangers if spotted. Balkan Skull tried to salvage the situation by dressing up in their Power Rangers gear, which mainly consists of football gear and a teddy bear in Skull's case. The putty decides to have a little payback by scaring the two away before turning its attention back to the two Rangers. In a clever move, Kimberly and Trini, to not give away any hints that they are Power Rangers, feigns clumsily running away so they can bounce the basketball in such a way that it takes care of the putty. Balkan Skull tried to take the credit, but seeing as there's identical tape on both the costumes and the putty, the only attention you two got is from the cops. The backup story is pretty much what we'd expect from Balkan Skull, trying some zany scheme only for it to backfire terribly. And that's why many fans, myself included, love these guys. We also love them because they have some clever moments like managing to capture a putty for a time. The reason the putty managed to scare them later is tied to what I said earlier. When it saw Kimberly and Trini, it switched to active attack mode, and who knows what the putty's capable of in this state. While the two Rangers dealt with the putty in their own clever way, Bulk and Skull are about to face some serious consequences, but that's something for another time. Let's move on from talking about Bulk and Skull to talking about Bulk and Skull. As I said earlier, their purpose in the main story is to provide exposition through a vlog for old and new fans. It also shows us another side to the duo, and not just because they're written by two different writers. They love the Power Rangers and went out of their way to make a vlog about them to share with the rest of the world, and they remain, for the most part, civil towards the people they usually harass during interviews. All they needed was something positive to channel their creative output. On to the actual main story. These 4 issues resolve some plot threads like Tommy's hallucinations and the green energy collecting crystal, while laying the groundwork for future events. It explores how Tommy has to get past his guilt and take control of the situation, and to realize he's not alone. The thing to note, in related to fiction, is dreams/hallucinations usually foreshadow things to come. For example, Tommy dreamt that the Dragon Zord would run amok, and look what happened later. Given some of the other hallucinations/dreams we've seen so far, I wonder if any of them are going to come true. I would say more, but that would give away something down the line. Another thing I find interesting about these issues is they explore the other Rangers' reactions to Tommy. Jason's trying to be open-minded, but Tommy's actions in issue 4 pushed him towards Zach's side. Zach himself doesn't trust Tommy, doesn't buy that he was only evil thanks to Rita's brainwashing. Harsh, yes, but to hint at something down the line, there is a possible reason for this behavior. Kimberly's obviously sympathetic to Tommy, and Billy feels inadequate, which is odd considering he was a ladies' man on the show. Trini shows why she's the heart of the team, able to share why a team member is important, and some personal thoughts in order to connect with people better. Her mentioning she wants to eventually move on from Ranger duties to help people in other ways was cleverly foreshadowing her eventual exit when she, Jason, and Zach would join the World Peace Conference in mid-season 2 of the show. That's assuming events of the show happen in a similar manner in the comic universe based on this panel here. Off panel, of course. The use of Scorpina. I like it. She didn't have much of a presence on the show, not to the same level as Goldar. It was probably related to how the Sentai footage was utilized. Perhaps that's why she was front and center, utilizing her potential as one of Rita's warriors, especially since Goldar is in prison for the moment. To wrap this up, I'm actually enjoying this version of the Power Rangers. They have actual characterizations, conflicts they have to work out. The art continues to be impressive. I mean, it made Pudgy Pig of all things creepier. And at the moment, Rita is winning. Seriously, her plan is working so far. How are the Rangers going to come back from this? Especially with the appearance of whatever this thing is. Well, hopefully we'll find out when I get to my next round of Power Rangers comics down the line. And from what I've read so far, it's about to get worse for our heroes. You know, after seeing Dream Trini saying this line, do you think the Hobbit films would be better if there were Power Rangers in them?